Hi, it's Dr. Myers, and I want to welcome you to the summer 2021 version of Introduction to Economic Analysis. I appreciate you being here. I think that this is a course some of you may come to because you're required, others because you want to know about economics. But I think all of you will value this course in the end if you keep your focus not on the not trying to turn you into an economist. I'm trying to protect you from economists. You'll see something about that in a bit. So this is a course in analysis, and just like any other analysis course, and of course, math, there's your analysis. How do you solve problems? That's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to figure out how economists solve problems. And that's the thing that economists bring to the table more than almost anyone else does, is we're trained to solve problems, tell stories. And by telling stories, I mean we have a theoretical basis of what we know is how the world works, and we collect data. We're very heavily into data science and so forth. And we can actually use statistical methodology and what have you to verify our ideas about what's going on in the economy. And in this course, you'll find this is not at all anything amenable to memorizing stuff. Memorization is not going to help you in this course. It may in other courses. You memorize a pile of things and they ask you a quiz and either you get it or you don't. That's not what you're going to find in this course. So, about me, I do blog at econdatascience.com, and actually some of this course is sitting on that server, and you'll be interacting with me through that server. You may have already gone out to it to find your syllabus, for example, because I emailed it to you earlier. I've been involved in scouting from pretty much my whole life, but I was scoutmaster of a troop here in Akron for 25 years and served both at council and national levels. Um, I'm married to Kimberly. She's also involved in scouting, and we have a mess of grandkids that we enjoy playing with. So I would invite you to check out both econdatascience.com, but join me on LinkedIn. Anyone who's serious about anything from a business point of view ought to be on LinkedIn, and go ahead and link up if you will. Now, I mentioned SaaS on the other screen, and in a normal year, I would be winging towards Las Vegas next week to present this paper, but I'm going to do it virtually. The SaaS Global Forum's International Forum, and it's part of my presentation. Again, this is very heavy data analytic. If you know about regressions, and don't run your reputation with hasty regression. If anybody cares about that, you can ask me later. But I wanted to throw that in there, just give you an idea of the kind of things that I'm involved in and that I do. I am retired from the faculty at the University of Akron. I'm an emeritus at this point. I spent 41 years on the regular faculty, and now it's other things. So, how do you get started in this course? Well, I sent an email. Many of you may have already have downloaded, but you do need to download these two texts. And more importantly, you're already in Module 1, which is how you found this link. This is part of Module 1. You may have to open up those links in Module 1 to download the two textbooks, just simply so that the program knows that you visited that site and you're ready to move forward, right? So program doesn't know that you downloaded it from my first email to you earlier in the week. The books are by Steve Greenlaw and David Shapiro, both friends of mine, both excellent teachers. I was actually at Ohio State with Dave Shapiro before he went on to Penn State. And Steve Greenlaw, I've met with all the work that I've done in the economics of education, writing papers, going to conferences, and so forth. This is a terrific text. And I say that because sometimes you say, hey, it's free, so you get what you pay for. No, it's not worth nothing. This is a great textbook. Now, the course is actually defined on a different textbook because when I wrote the course, I was using a different textbook, one by economist by the name of Parkin. That book currently retails for $330. Your book is free. You're welcome. Let me know how you spend your savings. The second book is by Hazlitt. We'll use that only this week, but my bet is you'll end up reading the whole book before the term is out or after this term or someplace because you'll find it infectious. I'm going to require you to read the first two chapters, then I'm going to require you to go in and read one more chapter after that. The details will be, of course, in Module 2A when you get there. And you can download it for free. You can actually read it online at that link or download a PDF. And I think you'll find it extraordinarily good. Henry Hazlitt reduces economics to one sentence. And you think, well, that's ridiculous. Nobody can do that. He did it, and I think it's a good sentence. I want you to carry his lesson with you through this whole term, and it'll come back and visit you a few times before we're all done. This is a 100% online course, and it has been that way since 2003. This was not designed out of panic when the world came crashing down last year and so many professors had to take their in-class and move it to. I didn't do that. This has always been 100% online. It's always been student learning focused, not instructor driven. You're not going to attend live lectures or recorded lectures by me and sit there and sort of by osmosis suck all this in and then give it back to me on a quiz. That's not how this course is set up. The course is set up to help you learn how to learn, and we'll see how you do. Now, you can contact me there, but I would ask you that when you use email, please put that subject in there. It makes sure that your email falls into the course folder. I get a ton of email and a lot of it just goes past me. I guarantee you I will miss some of your emails if you don't put that on there simply because I didn't see it. I got 20 emails and didn't see it. If we meet in person, we'll do it by WebEx, not at my office, which I still at least technically have one. And never use my office phone, even though you may call up and say, hey, what's Dr. Myers' phone number? Don't use it. I don't even know how to get the messages off of there. I simply, somewhere in the last few years, cell phones and all that, I don't use it at all. You will find my cell phone in almost all of my emails to you, so you can text me or do it that way if you need to. Now, this course is available to you 24/7. I don't require you to be at your computer at any given point in time ever. I do require you to be at your computer enough to do it. So you want to do it in the middle of the night, early in the morning, late at night, I don't really care. Now, Module 1, which you're in, is an introduction to the course. It's due today. I don't care what day you're reading this, it's due today. It's on the calendar or the important dates as Monday. I think elsewhere I said it was due Tuesday of the first week. Fine. First 2 days, it has to be done. And you can do it all in one sitting. It's not very long. Then Module 2A is due Friday of week 1. Remember, that's 3 chapters you're going to read and you're going to write an essay. That's due Friday. And then all the modules 2B, that 2B would be the first module in Greenlaw and Shapiro. And those modules are due each Tuesday and Friday of all the rest of the weeks of the course. There's 8 weeks in this course. At the end of each of those Greenlaw and Shapiro modules, you will take a 10-item quiz. You can repeat the quiz up to 3 times. And at the end of that module, you will do a required learning assessment, basically a form that you fill out. It emails to me. That is our only required contact. It says, hey, I'm finished. Here's my questions. Here's what I learned. Here's the scores I made. Can I move forward? And a lot of the movement forward to the next module is automatic. Sometimes I have to do it manually, check the syllabus and other presentations for more on that. 2A and 15A are writing assignments. One's due this Friday, one's due the last Saturday of the course. Uh, you can get more on that when you're in the course, of course. Now, Module 2A, you're getting about 3 days notice, 4 days notice to get that done. 15A, you'll have 3 weeks to work on this final project. Module 8B and 9B are in the line, so after Module 8, you'll do 8B. After Module 9, you'll do 9B. And they are requiring writing, but they're flipped a little bit. You're going to take a quiz that you can't study for. It's just a knowledge quiz. It's what do you know? And then you're going to end up writing about your reactions to what you learn about yourself and maybe a few other things. Now, what are the pressure points in this course? There's really one, and that is procrastination. If you don't hit all the due dates, you're going to have a tough semester. Because once you fall back in this course, there's no breathing room, there's no breaks. You have to stay at it. So here are the 3 pressure points that I see in terms of don't fall into procrastination. The first is within 1 week, that is by the second Tuesday, you have 4 things due. Module 1 is due today. Module 2A is due Friday. Module or a graph quiz that you have to take is due on Saturday. And 2B, which is on the first 2 chapters of Greenlaw and Shapiro, you have to have done by next Tuesday. So if you think this course is going to start slowly, no, it's starting fast and you need to keep up. Then during the course, every Tuesday, every Friday is a module due, and every module, it covers 2 to 3 chapters in the text. Now there's a problem here too. Each module closes 4 days later, and if you're not ready, if you haven't taken it, you'll get a 0. Please try not to get into that position, and you don't get in that position because you hit the due dates. Now, you do have 4 days before that module closes, so if occasionally you have to turn it in the next day, that's fine. But remember, every day you delay, you end up pushing the other one back. That deadline doesn't change. So you've got to hit the due dates. Frankly, those 4 days are for me, not for you. So I can see what you've done, and if you haven't done very well, I can intervene. We have 4 days to repair something. You're still way behind, but we've got to get it repaired before you can move forward. And the other pressure points the last week. On Friday, module 15, the last module is due. 15A, which you've had for 3 weeks, is due on Saturday, and the evaluations are due on Sunday. Evaluations are not optional. I give you 10 free points. I don't read them. And in fact, the confidential CBA evaluation, I can't even see. All I can see is you filled it out or you didn't. You fill out the forms, you get a 10 points. If you don't fill out forms, you get 0. You fill out 2 out of the 3, you get 0. You fill them all out, you get 10. It's completely free points. It helps you with your overall grade, and it gives me comprehensive feedback on how this course is, so next term it is better. Now, next, you can check the calendar and important dates, and you should commit all this to your own personal calendars or whatever. Sorry about that. Let me get back on the right screen. And all you do is go into the menu bar, hit important dates, up will come this, and it will tell you when that module is due. It also tells you when it closes and you get a recorded 0. That's not for your completion planning. Don't use that in that case. It also gives you a little quick introduction to what chapters are being covered and so forth, and how many points and how much time and what have you. Now, What's on the test? You know, what are we covering? Is this important? What are we talking about? On each quiz, I'm limited to 10 learning objectives. They're always going to be the same. So you have 3 attempts at Module 2. Question number 1 is always going to be on learning objective defining economics, right? And the difficulty is an R. That difficulty is recognition and recall. So question number 1 on Module 2 is always one that if you memorize the book, you'd be fine. Or if you remember what's in the book, you'd be fine, because that's what it is. You recognize the question, you recall the answer. Most of the questions aren't recognition and recall. They could be complex, which requires logical steps, usually one major logical step, and or they could be analytic. There are no analytic questions in Module 2, but those require multiple steps and layers of applied knowledge. Now you see another link on the menu bar, which is how hard is each quiz. I know you can't read that, I'm not expecting you to, but if you take a look at that, you will see a ranking of how many, well, actually, an actual accounting of how many recognition and recall, how many complex questions, how many analytic questions, and what that overall difficulty is if we say a recognition recall has a difficulty of 1, a complex question has a difficulty of 10, and a analytic question has a difficulty of 100. Just a weighted average, and you'll see that chapter 2, module 2 rather, is one of the easier ones, and module 4 is the hardest. So it just gives you an idea of what you're looking at in terms of the level of analytic questions, so forth. May or may not help you, but it's there for your information. Now, this is something I want to call to your attention because it's the most remarkable quote by an economist in history. Joan Robinson, the Cambridge economist from England, and she more socialist than anything else, but one of the things that you're going to find out in this course is whether you're a socialist, a Marxist, a free market person, a libertarian, you name it, whatever, the economic principles are identical. Everyone uses the same economic principles. There's no violations of those. How you apply it, how you weight things, how you think one thing is important or another, that's going to be our differences. But Robinson says the purpose of studying economics is to learn how to avoid being deceived by economists. And I would add, deceived by economists, politicians, friends who think they know what is right and wrong, you know, and all the rest, whether it's your elected officials, the current president, the past president, whatever. You're going to know through this course how to evaluate those statements. And if what I really hope by the end of the course is that you hear something, you know, uh, like the president said today, or maybe it was yesterday, there's no inflation. We don't see inflation. Well, lumber prices have gone up 300% in the last year. And I filled up my car yesterday at $2.85 a gallon. Yet before the pandemic, I filled it up for $1.85. Something's going on. Don't tell me it's not. This is where I start doing my own research because they may have an agenda to tell you one thing and not another. And one of those agendas is you don't want to panic markets, right? So president really doesn't want to go up there and say, we see hyperinflation on the way, and suddenly everybody reacts, whether it's true or not. So we need to learn how to avoid being deceived by economists, and that's what I hope for you. This is my favorite economist, or I should probably say my favorite living economist. He just turned 90. Thomas Sowell is a fabulous thinker. Some have referred to him as the greatest living, not economic, philosopher in the country. Um, Brilliant man. Last sentence: basic economic principles are unknown to most of the public and the media. Well, it's absolutely true. People don't know what they're talking about, but sometimes you can say it in a way that sounds like they do. If you don't know economics, you have no hope. You're going to accept it and move on. You may accept it and say, well, it doesn't affect me. 285 versus $1.85, it does affect you. Um, so I wish you much success this summer, and I hope that this is successful. I'm available anytime. Email me, but include that tagline. Have a good summer.